Mr. Kennedy. Still alive, I see. So, do you like my garden?
The Kennedy Report, Chapter 3. Well, with new scenery comes new faces. And most of these new faces aren't very friendly. It seems the new group of people involved with this case are none other than religious Karens, who devoted themselves to making a huge nuisance of themselves wherever they go, as long as they can get what they truly want. At the moment, it seems like what they truly want is the Sephora makeup, even taking a manager hostage in order to complete their goal. But the manager found his way to me on several occasions throughout my trip to the Sephora. It seemed like they needed more than just him to get to the makeup that the Karens wanted. And apparently, the other key that they needed was Ashley. As it turned out, she was the president's daughter. The president of Sephora, that is. And that's why she had been here originally. Why would she lie about that? And did the religious leader know? Was that why he was keeping her in the church, to protect her from the religious Karens? What happened to him, I wonder? With a lot of questions and absolutely no answers yet, my only link to the outside world is cut off, and I struggle to keep myself equipped through several challenging rooms filled with new horrors. Something that was less of a horror, but even more of a mystery, was an encounter with someone I thought long dead. Special Agent Haddadong. Last time I saw her was in Raccoon City, where she was getting bottom surgery to complete her transformation. I was always secretly jealous of how that turned out. But I didn't know how jealous until I saw her again after all these years. It seems she was working with someone equally jealous of other people's bodies, Albert Wesker. His role in this was unknown to me, and at the moment seemed unnecessary.
It was time to move on, and I had a difficult puzzle to solve. It said, shoot the wine bottles to progress. But what did that mean? I was so confused. So, for shits and giggles, I shot a wine bottle. And somehow that worked. But the Karens heard me damage their fun juice and trapped me in the next room. This cage sucks. You have 3 enemies who need taking out: the Carador, the crossbow, and the lock itself. I spent way too long trying to conserve ammo and health simultaneously, when I should have just committed to one. I chose health, and shot all 3 with extreme prejudice. I grabbed the magnum ammo nearby and ran. This room is also irritating, but just run around and dodge the shield men and it went fine. I even picked up a surprise tool for later. Moving forward, Lewis came behind me, boasting a sample of makeup. Oh my god. He brought it for us to take and go. I wouldn't even need to see Ashley's face again. Oh dear. I guess he forgot that I hadn't cleared all the enemies in the last room and they got the jump on him. I took the opportunity to say his name wrong. One last time.
Lewis!
Okay, now one last time.
Lewis!
Before his honorable demise. God, I sure hope he isn't resurrected in the future just to be even more of a wasted character with a lamer death. If Louise's death didn't get me upset, the next 5 seconds did. Yep. Ashley was nearby and made herself known immediately. Fun fact, in previous versions of this game, I don't think she screamed as often as she does in the Ultimate HD edition. So I feel like they purposely made her more irritating without updating any of the controls or quality of life. While it's much more fun to aim guns in the remake, they all sound like utter garbage and aren't fun to use. It was here when I truly realized the majority of boxed loot wasn't random, but preset. Because no matter how many times I reloaded this and many other areas, the loot would always be the exact same except for one box. Thankfully here, I ended up amassing 15 bullets, when not one, but 2 crates contained ammo. I saved my progress immediately, and then Ashley, unfortunately. Hi. So, I may mention this at some point in the next couple clips you're about to see, but this section of the challenge did not work as intended, footage-wise. So, 7 months later, I went back on my PC instead of the Xbox and decided to record some footage to put on top of this section of the video. In the process, I used the Resident Evil 4 trainer, and this is the first time I've ever used a trainer. So it kind of went interestingly. It went so well that I have a 23-minute video of just the trainer pulled up because that's what it decided to record instead of the footage of the actual gameplay. Let's talk about the parts that I didn't get footage of first. I have never completed Resident Evil 4 on the PC. I've only ever played it on consoles. Because I've never completed Resident Evil 4 on a PC before, not only do I not have access to any New Game Plus save files, I have never played the Mercenaries and thus haven't gotten access to the Handcannon yet. Now, you could say that since I'm just recording footage to put as a placeholder, I wouldn't need to do this part of the challenge actually so. But I would call you a pussy because I'm gonna do it anyway. After finagling for a while with that, I decided to try and port myself into that specific level because it's the very beginning of level 3-3, I believe, that this footage takes place during. Well, I am dumb, and I know how that works now, but I did not understand at first. Once I finally figured out how to get the hand cannon in the inventory as well as bullets, I restarted the game. And I started playing from level 1-1. But just to make things interesting, I also turned on Nightmare mode using the trainer. And using Nightmare mode means there's a stamina system now that's linked with your health bar. Your max stamina is your max health. And if you run out, your character will go into the injured pose and be slower, and you can't sprint for like 6 seconds or so. In addition to that, enemies can and will sprint themselves, and they do it a lot. And there's not much of a limit to them, so they are faster than you. So when you have something as slow to reload as the hand cannon, it's actually a terrible weapon. Well, I learned pretty quickly that using the trainer on a playthrough, specifically when you're trying to use the hand cannon on round 1, is difficult. The issue, visiting the merchant, you'll see that the hand cannon doesn't have a spot for an upgrade because the merchant's inventory is set from a new game, which means I'm unable to upgrade the hand cannon at all in this playthrough. So, I decided to give myself another restriction to subsequently harm and help this playthrough, despite the fact that it's technically not part of the challenge run itself. I allowed myself to use the Punisher, and punishment it is. However, I required myself to upgrade the entirety of the Punisher every chance it got new upgrades. But I would also go into the trainer every time I upgraded the Punisher and upgrade one stat of the Handcannon. I didn't play through the whole game like this. I'm just using this to get footage that I missed out on over the course of the original run. I decided to have a little fun with the trainer. You can give yourself any item in the game using the trainer. This includes key items, weapons, and ammo. It's also how I kept my ammo stocked throughout this playthrough. I did cheat to get ammo constantly. We got to the point in the game where Salazar locks up the part of the castle that has the Chimera statue, basically. And I wondered what would happen if I did a little sequence breaking and gave myself those keys without progressing through the next several levels. Well, it worked, but there were some interesting consequences. First and foremost, in the next episode, I'll talk about how some footage was corrupted and it was basically just me getting the grails. I've collected that footage from here, and the footage you'll see is from this trainer playthrough. So, I brought Ashley with me through these sections, which she would normally be with you, except I hadn't gotten her back yet from her being captured, because she hadn't been captured yet. I forgot that the section where she gets captured and rescued is in between now and when we actually unlock the section. So, I went through with getting the grails. And then I went back and completed the section of the game normally. Because I honestly didn't know what would happen if I completed a future chapter while I was on a chapter beforehand. I just didn't want to break it when it was being so difficult on me already to make the game function. So, I went back and I played the game normally until something marvelous happened. Because the game had triggered that I was on a future section of the castle, enemies never spawned in when I went back to complete it normally. And this was no more apparent than the entirety of the water room empty. The sewers completely empty. Returning from the sewers to see all of the people praying, completely empty. This was funny until it became a problem. See, the next section of the game is the gallery. And the way you get through the gallery is with the gallery key, found only on the enemy that spawns there. So I used the trainer to give myself the gallery key and progress normally. However, I really did just want to move forward. So here's what I did. Using this save file, I went into the trainer and overwrote the game to load in the end of chapter 3-2 in order to save Ash. I got the cutscene with Lewis dying. It was very, very interesting. And Ashley also loaded in sideways. And also, unfortunately, the enemies all loaded in at once as well. They'll go after Ashley, but they won't be able to harm her. I'm able to harm her, though. Here's where another problem arose. The enemies spawning in is an issue, because Ashley needs to get the key from an enemy to progress. And he was stuck behind a door. And unfortunately, this was part of the 23-minute video that was just the trainer, so a lot of this was not captured. And by a lot, I mean none of it. And that video also had to do with Ashley's rescue as well. So I had to go back and redo the entire section. So a lot of what I'm talking about is a recap of what I did not get to record. This section is cursed, I swear. It took so much just to get footage for it. And the funny parts are all gone. So using my big brain methods, I pulled out the Punisher and started shooting him in the leg over and over and over, because every time he fell over, he would fall forward. Out the door, out the door, out the door. He was inching closer and closer and closer. And because I was using the Punisher, the weakest weapon in the game, I shot him 50-ish times in the leg before he finally died outside of the door, allowing Ashley to grab the key and begin her section until she spawned at the top of the balcony to rescue her. Because I hadn't stopped the game from reloading this section of the game again. So after all that effort, I had to restart again and rescue her again. And then I had to do it again because none of it recorded. So the rest of the clips that you will eventually see are from this playthrough. Rescuing Ashley and Ashley's section. I also do want to point out something strange, that even after sequence breaking everything, or once I got back to the door to open it with the ornaments that I didn't need because it was already open, it was still open. So now I had the ornaments, but the door was already open. The sequence break kept, because I had registered that it was already open in a previous save file. It was great. I just wanted to point that out. Thank you for listening to this big cutaway. It was a mess. Unsurprisingly, with Leon's Michael J. Fox syndrome, I immediately kill Ashley. Multiple times. I pretty much ended up using all that gained ammo for this fight, since all enemies and her restraints needed killing. Which, with perfect aim, is about 10 bullets. Of course, I miss and used about 13 shots. But that didn't matter, as now I was inside the body of a college girl.
Story of my life.